We're pleased to have award-winning actor and producer Mark Ruffalo and lawyer Rob Bilott here to talk about the forthcoming film Dark Waters. Inspired by true events and based on a 2016 New York Times Magazine piece, the film follows Bilott, played by Ruffalo, as he uncovers and attempts to remedy a decades-long public health crisis involving one of the world's largest corporations. And now I'd like to go ahead and play the Dark Waters trailer, and we will get to our discussion moderated by the Washington Post's Sarah Ellison. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains.
Hi, Grammars.
What are you doing here?
Your grandma tells me her grandson's some fancy environment lawyer down in Cincinnati.
I am a corporate defense attorney.
So?
I defend chemical companies.
Well, now you can defend me.
How many did you lose?
190.
190 cows.
You tell me nothing's wrong here.
It's a small matter for a family friend. Help a guy who needs it.
The farmer or you? That's chemicals, I'm telling you.
I'm seeing documents I don't understand.
They're hiding something. That chemical.
What if you drank it? Drank it? It's like saying, what if I swallowed a tire?
What if whatever's killing those cows is in the drinking water?
At DuPont, better living through chemistry. It's our DNA.
You need to tell me what in the hell's going on.
DuPont is knowingly poisoning 70,000 local residents for the last 40 years. You knew, still you did nothing.
You want to flush your career down the toilet for some cowhand?
You want to take everything that you know and turn it against an iconic American company, like an informant. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
Yes.
They have all the money, all the firepower, and they'll use it. I know. I was one of them. Our government is captive to DuPont. They're trying to force you to make me stop.
He was willing to risk his job, his family, for a stranger who needed his help.
The system is rigged. They want us to think it'll protect us. We protect us. We do.
Well, thank you all for being here this morning. I'm Sarah Ellison. I'm a staff writer at the Washington Post. And thank you to Emily, Rob, and Mark for joining us for this really urgent discussion. And I just want to take a quick minute to ask you, what are forever chemicals? We're using that term. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, in this particular film, we're talking about one of these called PFOA. That was used for decades in manufacturing of a whole bunch of different commercial products, including Teflon. But PFOA is one within a large family of chemicals that we now hear referred to as PFAS, PFAS. It's sort of confusing, all these acronyms, but we now know that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these chemicals. And those chemicals are now all over the planet, and they're showing up in drinking water, they're showing up in human blood, and they present all kinds of problems. One day I got a call from a farmer out in West Virginia, and this gentleman had been trying his hardest to find somebody there in the local community outside Parkersburg who would talk to him, would listen to him. He had hundreds of cows that were dying on his property. He had gone to the state, he had gone to the federal EPA, he had gone to the company, wasn't getting anywhere, and was just reaching out, pleading for somebody to help. I agreed to have him come in, and we sat down and looked at what he brought, videotapes, photographs, and it was pretty compelling that there was something clearly wrong going on here.
There's something wrong with this cow. Slobber's running clear to the ground. And they keep trying to tell me there's nothing wrong with these things. I can call the West Virginia State Veterinarian, Doc Thomas, and the only thing he asked me is, do you have a good attorney?
When you were...
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was during that case that we found out it was not just the cows that were being poisoned, not just the tenant family and his property, but, you know, we found out that we were dealing with something that was in the entire community's drinking water.
And what I found so compelling was that it was the discovery. It was getting discovery and getting the access to the information that DuPont itself had. That was the way that you built your case.
According to Balot and the EPA, DuPont's internal documents reveal that the company failed to disclose its dangerous effects in all the years the company was marketing Teflon.
Let me ask you the old Watergate question, which is, what did DuPont know and when did they know it?
They knew it was causing cancer in animals by the 1980s. They knew it was in the drinking water of the community by the early 1980s. And they'd even set their own internal standards of what's safe, even though the government regulators didn't know about it.
The lawsuit on behalf of Wilbur Tennant alleges that DuPont was dumping toxic chemicals, contaminating his water supply, killing hundreds of his cattle. Tennant ultimately settled with DuPont, and the company admitted no wrongdoing.
As a result of the lawsuit, DuPont funded a science panel that, in 2012, found probable links between C8 exposure and health problems like cancer after testing almost 70,000 people in the area. 5 years later, DuPont settled without admitting any wrongdoing. They had also agreed to stop making C8, but by then, PFAS contamination had cropped up elsewhere.
PFOA is detected in 94 public drinking water systems across 27 states, affecting 6.5 million Americans. Digging deeper, we found 174,000 New Yorkers are drinking PFOA-contaminated water right now. This does not include the millions of private wells that may also be contaminated, and only 800 public wells serving less than 10,000 people were selected at random, meaning the majority of villages and small towns were not tested, areas where many manufacturing sites call home, like Petersburg and Hoosick Falls. Dr. Savitz says the average person has 4 parts per billion of PFOA in their blood. When levels start to exceed 84 parts per billion, he says your risks of getting thyroid disease, kidney cancer, any of these 6 diseases get much higher.